Hello everybody, how you guys doing? Welcome to the stream. My name is Marlon, and right now it is almost 12 o'clock, almost noon. So, how you guys doing on this 4th of July? For those of you who are outside of the United States, today is the 4th of July. It means that this is America's Independence Day, or America's 249th birthday. We're about a year away from celebrating a quarter milestone for the U.S.'s existence, which happens to be the quarter millennium of the United States being in existence. All right, so what do we have for today? Well, for the next hour, we are going to talk about the weather and even talk about potential tropical storm Chantal. But right now, we'll just focus on what's going on outside the tropics. But as you can see, folks, we do have 100 active weather alerts, 3 flash flood emergencies in Texas. Sounds very serious. Get to it in a moment. 10 flash flood warnings in Texas. Oh boy, everywhere, all across the Lone Star State. And 1 special marine warning in Florida. One extreme heat warning, and where is that? That is located in northeastern Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin, right around the Duluth area. 1 dense fog advisory, where is it? It is located in the southeastern end of Alaska, just about a few hundred miles to the southwest of Juneau, Alaska, the state capital. You have 19 air quality alerts. We're not going to go through all of them. 56 flood warnings and 9 red flag warnings. Okay, let's start off in the Northeast. So what do we have in the Northeast is that nothing much is going on. It's mostly dry for the past 3 hours. Well, but there are some spotty showers in northern Maine, in which case all that rain is wrapping around an area of low pressure to the north. As you can see, there is an area of low pressure there. But beyond that, nothing much going on. We had a cold front that swung by last night, which delivered some thunderstorms. A few of them were severe. And elsewhere, you're seeing some air quality alerts in northern Virginia, right around the Baltimore, Washington area. Yep. Well, just only in the Washington, D.C. area in northern Virginia. Just some air quality alerts, so you know, folks. And now we go down south, where the Carolinas, much of the Carolinas is calm. A few spotty showers in South Carolina, but it's actually worse in the coastal part of South Carolina, in which case we do have a low pressure center just off of Florida, the Georgia coast, and the Carolinas. But we're going to talk a little bit about it once we get to the tropics, after we talk about the windy.com version, in which case we talk about wind speed, current wind speed and direction, current temperatures, and even humidity and gusts, as well as estimated rainfall. But right now we're just looking at an area of low pressure at the surface, delivering some thunderstorms throughout South Carolina, Georgia, and even parts of Florida. But and associated with such, there are thunderstorms that are present throughout much of the southern half of Florida. That includes Orlando, Central Florida, And in fact, we do have one special marine warning just located just northeast of Key West, bringing in some thunderstorms, choppy waters. It's all connected to this low pressure center there. So you can see, folks, as it swirls. But other than that, much of northern Florida, with the exception of Jacksonville, is quite dry. But the Big Bend area is looking clear, especially throughout the rest of the panhandle of Florida. A few hours ago, it's just passing clouds and showers. The rest of Georgia, it's quite dry. Tennessee, dry. Much of Alabama, dry. Well, though there are some showers just southeast of Mobile, Alabama. Mississippi, mostly dry. A few pockets of clouds and showers in the area. Then we go to Arkansas. Arkansas, they do have flood warnings there, along with Louisiana and eastern Texas. Well, some parts of Texas, but better not get confused with the ones just right between San Antonio and San Angelo. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Do have some clouds and showers and thunderstorms passing through the Pelican State. Just mostly dry throughout Arkansas for the most part. But a few pop-up showers are brewing throughout the state. Now we can go to Texas, where there are lots of thunderstorms all over the Lone Star State, with the exception of anywhere west of San Angelo and the panhandle of Texas. It's all connected to this low pressure center just located south of San Angelo. Though there have been flash flood emergencies that are right now in occurrence right now, and it appears as though that they are getting worse as you move to the northwest, like from San Antonio, and in places like Comfort, Kerrville, just right around the I-10 corridor. In those places, they're dealing with some serious flash flood emergency situation there. Flood warnings in San Angelo. I mean, they've already had flash flood warnings, but now it's mostly a riverbanks type of problem, where a lot of flooding is occurring even when the sky's clear. But it's quite awful in the I-10 corridor just before you even reach for San Antonio. Bourne, Medina, Fredericksburg, and Llano. They're getting a lot in Rock Springs. They're getting a lot of rain going right now. Though a big batch of rain, it looks like as though that it's moving in towards San Antonio. Though it's a slow mover. And it looks like as though it's also moving its way towards Austin as well. But it's a slow mover, folks. It'll be there within about an hour or two for either Austin or San Antonio. But gear up and stay on dry land or in high elevation, actually, because those are the best places you can escape from floodwaters. If you're like downhill, then that's bad. You're going to get swept away by floodwaters, because it is a very serious situation. Now, let me turn into the single site radar just to give you guys a perspective. Okay, so it turns out there really is a lot going on. I mean, there are no tornado warnings, folks. Usually I put tornado warnings there, but for the most part, it's all this big batch of rain that's it's been a major problem throughout those places. But let me just play the radar once again. Yeah, look at that. This is very serious. Here. Yeah, it's just swirling around. I mean, kind of like a slow-moving hurricane, but kind of looks like as though it may be moving in towards that direction, towards Austin. But San Antonio will not get spared from all that heavy rain, though. We'll probably get to the whole rainfall amount once we clear up with windy.com, with current wind velocities and current temperatures. And now let's move on to Oklahoma, where showers and thunderstorms are making its way up north towards Kansas, through Oklahoma City, through Lawton, through Tulsa, and then to McAllister. Of course, a few showers and a few storms are rolling towards the east side of Wichita. To go to the Ohio Valley, where it's quite clear for the most part, though Chicago, they are getting thunderstorms right now. In central Indiana, they're getting air quality alerts there. Ohio, it's quite clear for the most part. Kentucky, too. Though Indiana, they're going to get some thunderstorms just located right around the South Bend area in a matter of an hour. Thunderstorms are present in places like Chicago, Milwaukee, Kenosha, Waukegan, Rockford. And it looks like as though it's moving towards the southeast for the most part. But at the same time, they're dealing with some air quality alerts, as you can see, in Chicago and Milwaukee, Muskegon as well, in Detroit. Now, why is that? I'll get to that in a moment. I mean, most likely it has to do with heating and as well as the humidity. All that factors in with stagnant air, in which case it makes pollutants high. Well, very high in numbers, folks. Which means that those with health issues would need to. We need to exercise caution, and if you know somebody, just make sure to check up on them. Call 911 if this is very serious. Now let's go to the extreme heat warnings, and they're located in northwestern Wisconsin and northeastern Minnesota. I mean, that you guys have suspected that it's all because of the heat that's about to build up. That's building up. Elsewhere, okay, so basically you do have the eastern half of Wisconsin, like being deluged right now. Let's go to Michigan, where they're getting the thunderstorms going in the southern half of the lower peninsula of Michigan. Some showers and clouds rolling through the upper peninsula, and as well as thunderstorms passing through northeastern Minnesota, but making its way towards Lake Superior. And more thunderstorms are popping up in northwestern Minnesota. Flood warnings are present in the southern half of the state, and as well as the far eastern edge of South Dakota. Iowa and Missouri are in the clear for now. Kansas, I've already mentioned about thunderstorms showers and storms rolling through Wichita, but yet there are a few showers and thunderstorms in the northwestern corner of Kansas, and as well as thunderstorms in the western half of Nebraska. Let's go back to the Dakotas, in which case you have thunderstorms on the west half of South Dakota, and as well as North Dakota too. Now let's move on towards the northern Rockies, where there are thunderstorms rolling across through the region, through places like the Bitterroot Mountains in Idaho. And it looks like as though that it's spinning towards the northwest, bringing in some storms into the mountain range from Pocatello Twins Falls, Boise, for the most part, well, they got some showers, but it's clearing up right now. But Pocatello is far from being away from danger. For the most part, it's going to get a lot of rain. Twin Falls, they're just getting passing clouds for now. In Montana, it's mostly cleared, though there are a few places with thunderstorms in the southeastern part of the state, and as well as the western part of Montana, including Missoula and Butte, where they're getting some passing showers, clouds, and storms. Wyoming, it's got plenty of some few spotty storms that are present. Some of them are pop-up storms in northwestern Wyoming, and some storms are present in the south central part of Wyoming and on the eastern edge of Wyoming. They're getting some storms going as well. Now we go down towards the Great Basin states and Colorado, where you do have showers and storms on the northeastern part of the state, and especially in the central part of Colorado too. And what you're looking at, folks, is some passing clouds, showers, and storms in northern Utah, but elsewhere throughout the state, you do have some places that are under red flag warnings in western, southwestern, and southern Utah, and especially in south and eastern Nevada. But in northeastern Nevada, of course, you do have pop-up showers and thunderstorms moving towards Utah and into Idaho. See, red flag warnings. That's because you have very low humidity, strong winds, and high heat. Well, heat's not always a factor, but lack of humidity and lack of, well, actually, it's just lack of humidity and strong winds that play a factor. And dead vegetation, too, because of the lack of rains. In New Mexico, well, you're not seeing much in New Mexico, though clouds have been on and off in southwestern Arizona. Yet there is a red flag warning in the northwestern part of the state. Let's go to California, where there are air quality alerts throughout the Los Angeles area. Not just LA County, but the surrounding counties as well. Orange County, Riverside County, and parts of San Bernardino County, too. The rest of California is quite dry, nothing going on, just a cold front just northwest of the Bay Area, but yet there is a stationary front that travels towards Lewiston, Washington State. Then we go to the Pacific Northwest, where there are red flag warnings, even though we do have some thunderstorms in the south central part of Oregon. Bend, Oregon, they're getting clouds and showers right now. Though pop-up showers and thunderstorms are located in the eastern half of Oregon, making its way generally towards the north. Yet some showers and thunderstorms are making its way across the state line, across the Columbia River, and into Washington State, places like Kennewick and Yakima. But right now it's mostly dry throughout much of Washington. Alright, so now let's talk about what's going on with current temperatures right now. So let's see, let's switch gears to here. So what do we have here? Okay, so throughout New England and of course the eastern half of upstate New York, much of the Northeast, winds are coming from the northwest, blowing it up to 25 miles per hour. It gets calmer down south and especially towards the west, where they become light and variable in western New York, western Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and as well as the west central part of West Virginia. Though winds in Maryland and Sorry about that. In eastern Pennsylvania, eastern southern Pennsylvania, as well as New Jersey, their winds are shifting towards the south, as well as Maryland and the Delmarva Peninsula. But in southern Virginia, winds are shifting towards the southwest and west, blowing it up to 20 miles per hour. Sorry about that, folks. Had something going on. I know it's gross. My apologies. Well, the coast, Cape Cod, they do have winds of up to 30 miles an hour there, especially in the southern tip of the Delmarva Peninsula and some parts of coastal Maine. Temperatures in Maine, they are in the upper 50s to low 70s. Vermont and New Hampshire, temperatures are in the 60s. Boston, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, temperatures are in the 70s. Upstate New York, temperatures are in the mid 60s to low 70s. Greater New York City area, temperatures are in the 70s. Pennsylvania, temperatures are in the upper 60s to mid 70s. Delmarva Peninsula plus western Maryland and Washington, D.C. Temperatures are in the 70s to low 80s. West Virginia, mid 70s to mid 80s. Virginia, temperatures are in the 80s. Let's go down towards North Carolina, or the Carolinas, I should say. And plus Georgia, much of those three states, winds are actually coming from the northeast, blowing up to 25 miles per hour in the interior areas, but it's quite calm throughout much of the Outer Banks, North Carolina, but down in South Carolina and Georgia's coastlines, the winds are speeding up to 25 miles per hour there. There's an area of low pressure. I mean, as you can see, the circular motion, circular flow just offshore. Yep, we're going to get into that in just a moment. Now, let's see what we got in terms of temperatures in the Carolinas. They are in the 80s, plus Georgia, Tennessee. Winds throughout much of Tennessee, they are moving towards the west, no more than 10 miles an hour. But in western Tennessee, winds are very, very light, close to being variable though, with temperatures in the 80s. Let's go to Florida, where let's go section by section, where winds are very light. And, well, they're very light though. They're moving towards the Gulf in the Panhandle part of Florida. But in the Big Bend area, you have very light and variable winds there. Jacksonville, winds are onshore. They're blowing towards Jacksonville up to 20 miles per hour. In the southern half of Florida, you do have winds that are coming from the southwest, blowing up to 20 miles per hour. Temperatures all across the Sunshine State are in the 80s. Go to Alabama, Mississippi. You're seeing Alabama, winds coming from the east, shifting towards the south, and no more than 20 miles per hour. In Mississippi, winds are generally moving towards the south at no more than 10 miles per hour. Temperature-wise, they are in the 80s. Arkansas, winds very light and variable in the southern and eastern parts of the state, but northwestern Arkansas, winds are moving towards the north at up to 15 miles per hour. Temperatures are in the 80s. Louisiana, sorry about that. Louisiana, much of the state has light and variable winds, but on the coastal part of Louisiana, stretching from central Louisiana all the way to New Orleans and Mississippi, winds are moving towards the southeast up to 25 to 30 miles an hour in some places, though the temperatures are in the 80s. And now let's go to Texas. Let me see the chat real quick. No, nothing yet. Much of Texas, winds are moving towards the north. Though in western Texas, winds are coming from the west, shifting towards the north. But wind speed in places like northeastern Texas, up to 30 miles an hour. Southern Texas, up to 30 miles per hour also. Western Texas, some places 30, maybe a little lighter. In the panhandle of Texas, like way up, wind speeds are up to 30 as well. I mean, but then again, winds are very variable in terms of speed. Let's take a look at the temperatures in the panhandle. They're in the 70s as well as western Texas. Southern Texas, temperatures are in the mid 70s to mid 80s. Eastern Texas, temperatures are in the mid 70s to low 80s. Let's go to Oklahoma, where the entire state winds are moving to the north, but in western two-thirds of the state, winds are blowing up to 30 miles an hour, and temperatures are in the 70s to low 80s all across Oklahoma. Let's go to the Ohio Valley, let's go to Kentucky, where Kentucky, southern half of Kentucky, winds are moving towards the west at 10 miles per hour, but very light and variable in the northern half. Ohio, much of the state has light and variable winds, but northwestern Ohio, winds are moving towards the northwest at up to 10 miles per hour. Indiana, southern half of the state has very light and variable winds, but the northern half moving towards the northeast at up to 15 miles per hour. Illinois, you have southern Illinois, where winds are coming from the east, shifting towards the northeast, towards Chicago. And the northern half of the state, winds are blowing at up to 20 miles an hour there. Temperatures in Kentucky are in the upper 70s to mid 80s. Ohio, mid 70s to low 80s. Indiana, 80s. Illinois, also 80s. Go to the Great Lakes part, and we do have winds that are moving towards the north in both peninsulas of Michigan and as well as Wisconsin in general, though. Wind speeds are very light in the southern half of the lower peninsula, though in the northern half just up to 20 miles an hour. In the upper peninsula, winds are blowing up to 30 miles per hour. In the central part of the peninsula, Wisconsin, winds are blowing towards the north at around up to 25 miles per hour. Remember when I said about high heat, folks? Well, that'll occur later. But yet the air quality alerts does stand because, the heat does make things worse. And given that there's a lack of winds, which makes the air stagnant, which means that you're not getting any healthy air going. And with the heat, that just makes things worse. Along with some humidity. Temperatures in the lower peninsula of Michigan, they're in the upper 70s to mid 80s. Upper Peninsula, temperatures are in the upper 60s to mid 70s. Wisconsin, temperatures are in the 70s. Let's go to Minnesota. Minnesota, we have winds that are moving towards the northeast at up to 30 miles per hour throughout much of the state. Temperatures throughout Minnesota, they are in the mid 70s to mid 80s. Let's go to Iowa, where winds are also moving towards the northeast at up to 30 miles per hour, particularly in the western half of Iowa, eastern half up to 20 miles an hour. Temperatures in Iowa, they're in the 80s. Missouri, winds are moving towards the north, very calm though, but just up to 20 miles per hour throughout much of the state, except for the northern edge of the state, just up to 25 though. Temperatures are in the 80s as well. Let's go to Nebraska and Kansas, where Kansas winds in most of the state, they're blowing towards the north at up to 30 or 35 miles an hour. In Nebraska, wind speeds are up to 35 miles per hour. In the northern central part of Nebraska, western Nebraska, winds are coming from the northwest, shifting towards the northeast at up to 30 miles an hour. Of course, Nebraska winds are shifting towards the north-northeast. Temperatures all across Nebraska are and Kansas, they are in the mid-70s to mid-80s there. Low 80s, I mean. Let's go to the Dakotas, where you have the western half of South Dakota with winds that are coming generally from the west, shifting towards the north-northeast, as well as the western you have northwestern corner of North Dakota with winds coming from the north at up to 30 miles an hour, as well as Buffalo, South Dakota. But they're shifting generally towards the east. But in the southeastern part of North Dakota and the eastern half of South Dakota, winds are moving towards the north-northeast at up to 30 miles an hour. In other parts, it's quite variable, though. Light and variable, I should say. But wind speeds are they're variable. Not in terms of direction, though. Temperatures all across South Dakota, they are in the mid-70s to upper 80s. Now let's go to the Northern Rockies, where much of the region does have light and variable winds, but in southeastern Idaho, winds blowing from the west, shifting towards the north, but it's just going a little bit almost nowhere for the most part near Idaho Falls, up to 25 miles per hour. In the eastern half of Montana, winds are coming from the north, blowing up to 30 miles an hour, shifting towards the east in general. And we got Wyoming, where winds in the southern and eastern parts of Wyoming, they are coming from, moving towards the northeast for the most part. Some places up to 30 miles per hour. Let's go to Montana, where temperatures in eastern half of Montana, they're in the 70s, plus Helena. Western half, temperatures are in the 60s. Northern half of Idaho, temperatures are in the 50s. Southern half, temperatures are in the 60s. Wyoming, temperatures are in the mid-60s to low 70s. Now let's go to Colorado, where winds in the western two-thirds of Colorado, they are generally blowing towards the east, but I'm not saying specifically east, but I'm saying in general, because some places may be moving towards the north, other places just also to the east, but in the eastern third of Colorado, winds are shifting towards the north, in some places up to 35 miles per hour. Western part, very light, but in the northwestern corner of Colorado, up to 30 miles an hour. Temperatures in Colorado, they are in the mid-60s to mid-70s. Utah, winds are very light throughout much of the state. The western Utah, wind speeds are up to 30 miles per hour, but regardless, most wind directions are moving towards the northeast, though, in general, but some places may be light and variable, though. Temperatures in Utah range from the upper 60s to low 80s. Then we go to Nevada, where you have winds in the northern half of the state. They're blowing towards, well, actually much of the state, they're moving towards the north in general. But some places do have light and variable winds. Others have stronger winds of up to 30 miles per hour. based on the geography, it's based on local geography, folks, especially given weather conditions and such. Northern half of Nevada, temperatures are in the 60s. Southern part of Nevada, they are in the 70s to mid 80s. Okay, so we got New Mexico. Winds are generally moving towards the east. Some places up to 30 miles per hour, other places very light though. In western Arizona, winds are generally blowing towards the north though, but eastern half winds are shifting towards the east. But in the northeastern corner, actually winds are moving towards the northeast. Some places have light winds, but in southwestern Arizona, you have winds that are blowing up to 30 to 40 miles per hour there, maybe up to 30 in other places where there are strong winds. New Mexico, you have temperatures that are in the low 60s to mid 70s. Arizona, northern half temperatures are in the low 60s to upper 70s. Southern Arizona, temperatures are in the 80s. Now let's go to California. You have a lot of winds that are blowing offshore, paralleling the California coast up to 40 miles per hour, but in the coastal parts of California, most parts, they have light and variable winds there, but in the Bay Area, you have winds that are moving towards the Central Valley of up to 20 miles per hour, but in the immediate coastal parts of the Bay Area, in the northern half of the Bay Area, winds are moving up to 30 miles an hour. The northern half of the Central Valley, actually you're seeing winds moving towards the northeast up to 20 miles per hour, but in southeastern California, especially in Death Valley, in the Mojave Desert, winds are moving towards Nevada up to 30 miles an hour there. Let's take a look at temperatures all across the state. So you're seeing temperatures that are in the mid 50s to mid 60s throughout the coastal part of California, plus Sacramento and Chico, though places like Bakersfield, Fresno, and Redding, temperatures are in the 70s, and Dio 86. Yeah, I can hear background music, folks, so I'm going to try to mute the mic right now. Okay, so now we're in the Pacific Northwest. Now, much of the region, it does have light and variable winds, but in the immediate coastal part of the Pacific Northwest, the winds are blowing up to 25 to 30 miles an hour there, moving along the coast down south, but some places have winds moving towards inland. But in places like the upper Columbia River Valley, plus some places on the leeward side of the Cascades, winds are up to 30 miles an hour, moving towards the northeast, but in some places in northern Washington state, they're coming from the north, but shifting towards Spokane. Temperatures in Oregon, they range from the mid 50s to upper mid 60s. Washington state, temperatures are in the mid 50s to upper 60s. Now let's talk about gusts right now. Well, as you can see, we do have plenty of gusts throughout northern and interior parts of New England, especially the Adirondacks and the Catskills. And then in the center of Georgia, up to 30 miles an hour there. Up to 40 to 50 miles per hour wind gusts. The Great Plains up to 40, maybe up to 50 miles an hour. Some places in the Great Plains up to 50 to 60 in southwestern Arizona, especially up to 60 in a few places in northern New Mexico. Okay, and now let's talk about humidity. We do have plenty of humidity in Texas, as you can see. It's all has to do with rain that's been going on, especially in central Idaho and Wisconsin, and some places in the Colorado Rockies, especially in the Pacific Northwest. Some places in the Pacific Northwest. Now let's talk about rainfall accumulation. So what do we got in the Northeast? Not much, just up to a quarter inch of rain in some places in northern Maine. Florida, up to 2 to 3 inches of rain throughout much of Florida, particularly in central Florida. Texas, in the center of Texas, you do have rainfall as much as probably up to 4 to 6 inches of rain near Morgan, just southwest of Dallas-Fort Worth. But all that could change, folks, based on how much rainfall places like Kerrville will get, because they were under a flash flood emergency, which does indicate that there's a lot of rainfall to be accumulated. Now we go to the Great Plains and Upper Mississippi Valley, where you have rainfall estimates of up to 2 to 3 inches of rain, and in the northern Rockies and the leeward side of the Cascades, Bitterroot Mountains, up to an inch to an inch and a half of rain. Now, before we can talk about the upper part of the atmosphere, let's talk hurricanes right now. So, what do we have for hurricanes? Well, for the most part, this is as of hold on, let me refresh the page. Yeah, this is as of 7:53 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The National Hurricane Center has given this potential tropical storm a 60% chance of cyclone formation within either 48 hours or 7 days. So there's a medium chance. So I quote from the National Hurricane Center, near the southeastern United States, showers and thunderstorms have increased in association with an area of low pressure located about 100 miles off of the northeast Florida coast. Environmental conditions are forecast to be marginally conducive for further development, and a short-lived tropical or subtropical depression could form late today or on Saturday while the system drifts northward. This low is expected to move inland over the southeastern U.S. Saturday night or early Sunday. Regardless of development, heavy rain is possible across portions of west central and southwestern Florida through early Saturday and across coastal sections of the Carolinas beginning later on Saturday. An Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft is scheduled to investigate the system later today. Alright, so we got, so we do have a tropical system, but we don't have a name for it yet. For the most part, if it were a tropical storm, the next name would be Chantal. 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 Now, let's go back to our tropical tidbits, well, let's just take a look at some current storms. Not this one. Let's find a different storm. So this is the one that we're looking for, Invest 92L. So as of 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I know it says 12 UTC, but it stands for Universal Time. Man, I really need to brush off on my time zone knowledge. Universal Time Center. Okay, so the location's just off the Florida coast. Maximum winds are at 25 knots, which means probably between 25 to 30 miles an hour. No gusts are present. Maximum central or minimum central pressure is at 1,011 millibars. No environmental pressure is reported, as well as the radius of circulation. Radius of maximum wind is 75 nanometers. Oh, nautical miles, I mean. Sorry about that. Nautical miles. I mean, normally it would be at nanometers, but it's actually nautical miles in meteorology because, I mean, if it were nanometers, then it would be microscopic, but to the human eye at least. So what do we have? We do have global hurricane models that do indicate that some of the models are pointing towards South Carolina, a little bit of Georgia, just shifting towards North Carolina, then towards the Delmarva Peninsula, and then pass by Long Island and the Jersey Shore, and making its way towards Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and Cape Cod. GFS ensemble models do point towards the Carolinas and then exit through North Carolina, the southern end of the Delmarva Peninsula, and just pass by the Northeast. And the GPS ensembles do want it to stay inland a little closer, making it very uncomfortable for us to experience this potential storm, and could affect places like here, but not in a intense way. Meaning, okay, so the intensity guidance does show that right now it's at 25 knots, but in the next 24 hours, it looks like as though one of the models wanted to upgrade to a tropical storm, but for the most part, it doesn't look like it. As I suspected a few days ago, I mean, it doesn't look like as though that it will be a tropical storm for the most part. It'll be nothing but just some rainmaker. So moving on to 48 hours, which is Sunday. Most of the models don't want that to upgrade to a tropical storm. Then it downgrades, and then after that, well, I don't see that happening, affecting our area, folks. Alright, so let's take a look at the next 3 days. Start off with the upper level winds. Let me see, at 500 millibars. Okay, so this is what we got. So assuming that this is right now. Okay, assuming that this is right now, this is a setup. We have a ridge just over the mid-Mississippi Valley, a trough over the Colorado Rockies. Oh, well, the Rockies in general, a little bit of ridge in the northern Rockies, as well as a trough just located in northern Maine, which means, well, just a tiny bit of trough in Arizona. I mean, for the most part, we do have some wet weather going on in the Great Plains, but however, there has been like a major issue with rainfall. Upper level low is located in the center part of Texas, which may explain some flash flooding that's occurring there. And wet weather has moved away, but yet plenty of storms are located right around places like the northern Rockies. Moving on to 24 hours from now, we do have some ridges occurring in lower Peninsula Michigan and the Colorado Rockies. Troughs are in Oregon. Will be in Oregon. There will be an upper level, from what it looks like, an upper level low located just over the northern Florida, Georgia, which does indicate a tropical system that's about to brew tomorrow which other than that, there will be wet weather in the north, in the upper peninsula. No, up. Hold on a minute. Sorry about that. There will be wet weather in the upper Mississippi Valley, as well as the northern Rockies, Great Basin, too. And then what do we have here? Moving on towards Sunday, where there's going to be a ridge sitting over the New York City area, as well as a big one just over the Colorado Rockies and the Southern Plains. It's going to be an upper level low off of Northern California, a little bit of trough in northeastern Montana. Not much going on, folks, but there could be some wet weather that could brew throughout Michigan and as well as the northern plains. The wet weather will still be a thing in the Carolinas, though, because of this potential tropical system, and just a chance of wet weather in the Great Basin. We'll take a look at that in a couple moments. Finally, on Monday morning, you do have an upper level low just sitting off of the Bay Area. That does indicate a trough and a ridge over the Colorado Rockies and a small trough over Illinois and a wide ridge just over southern New England and off of southern New England too. Okay, which means that we are going to get some wet weather in the Ohio Valley and especially in the Great Basin, some parts of the desert Southwest too. Now let's take a look at the surface just to see what's going to happen. So let's dive deep into this. Minute. Okay, never mind. Okay, so let's start here. Okay, so this is pretend that this is right now. Okay, so we're paying attention to this area of low pressure that's located here, but there's no well-defined low pressure here. Let's go to 24 hours from now. Well, actually from 8 a.m. There is going to be somewhat of a well-defined surface low pressure center just off of South Carolina. Wet weather could occur throughout the Carolina coast. We move on to about 12 hours. Wet weather, all that low pressure center will be gone, but a little bit of which in the Outer Banks. Hold on just a minute, folks. Go back. Okay, so this is tomorrow morning. Got a well-defined low just off of the Carolinas. Then we move on to 24 hours from now, Sunday morning. It's going to impact the Carolinas, but I doubt it's going to be a tropical storm, to be honest with you guys. Then we move on to Monday morning. So by Monday morning, that low would be not so well concentrated, but will still deliver plenty of rain throughout the Mid-Atlantic and the Southeast. For Tuesday morning, there's still going to be wet weather there all along the East Coast. And then by Wednesday morning, still some wet weather, but the low would be offshore. And then the system moves away, yet there's going to be another area of low pressure coming from the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. We'll focus on that in another time. But let me check the European models just to see what we're getting at. Okay, there's a well-defined low. There's a well-defined low pressure. I mean, there's going to be a lot of wet weather just offshore. Sunday morning, wet weather, but low pressure would still be well defined, but couldn't be found for the area of the center of surface low pressures. And then we move on to Monday morning, which is here. Still some wet weather in the Carolinas, but that low is just going to be less organized, though, on Monday morning, then going to Tuesday morning. It's a little bit of wet weather offshore, but on the interior, some showers. And then we move on to Wednesday. It'll clear up. But this is just my prediction, folks. Hold on a minute. Alright, folks, I'm back. Okay, so back to what I was doing, or rather, I was done, and then background music started becoming so persistent, like as though it was their intention to disrupt the stream. Alright, now enough about that. Let's focus on what's going to happen, let's say, for the next 3 days. And we've pretty much covered in depth about the system. But let's just go over throughout the United States. Okay. Turns out we do need to refresh on that one. Let's go to here at the very least. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this is for tonight. Yeah, tonight we do have temperatures that are very hot all across the south, southwest, the Central Valley, California, and even parts of Minnesota. Yeah, cool temperatures will occur throughout the northern Rockies, Bitterroot Mountains, and even northern tip of Maine. Now moving on to tomorrow morning, where there's going to be plenty of warm lows throughout Florida, much of the South, plus the Ohio Valley, Mississippi Valley, the Great Lakes, and even the desert Southwest. Chilly weather throughout the Rockies, great parts of the Great Basin, and parts of the Pacific Northwest, and even the Bay Area too. Oh yeah, and especially the Catskills and the Adirondacks. Now, what about, let's say, tomorrow night? So by tomorrow night, there is going to be a lot of hot weather throughout the lower Mississippi Valley, western Texas, desert Southwest, much of California, parts of the Great Basin, much of the Great Plains, and as well as the mid-Mississippi Valley too. Chilly weather in the northern Rockies. Then we move on to Sunday morning, where there is going to be plenty of very warm lows in the lower throughout much of the Mississippi Valley, the Ohio Valley, parts of the Great Lakes region, Florida, and as well as southern Arizona. Chilly weather will be in play throughout the Rockies, parts of the Great Basin, parts of the Pacific Northwest, and especially the Bay Area too. Then we move on to Sunday night. There is going to be a lot of hot weather all across the southern plains, parts of the Great Basin, California, desert Southwest. And all that heat starting to build up throughout the East Coast, folks, especially Florida and in the mid-Mississippi Valley too, and the parts of the Ohio Valley too. Finally, by Monday morning, plenty of warm lows throughout the East Coast, lower Mississippi Valley, parts of Texas, desert Southwest, chilly weather in the Rockies, parts of the Pacific Northwest, parts of the coastal part of California, and Nevada too, and even the Colorado Rockies, if I haven't already said that. Now let's go over through humidity for tonight, for the 4th of July. So let me just... Oh yeah, folks, that kind of reminds me. I gotta ask myself about the whole, humidity thing. Just give me a moment, folks. Okay, I'm back. So sorry about that. Okay. This is okay. So for tonight, anywhere east of the Rockies, there's plenty of humidity to go around. Plus, much of Montana and southern Arizona, plenty of humidity, excessive humidity throughout the central third of the country, plus the southeast. You know, it's all because the potential tropical storm Chantal could form, but I highly doubt that, folks. Then we move on to tomorrow morning, where tomorrow morning there is anywhere that's east of the Rockies will get humidity, high humidity levels, especially in southern Arizona, but it's worse in the central third of the country, with the exception of North Dakota. But there is going to be a lot of humidity all across the southeast because of the system, and even humidity starts building up along the east coast, though, and the Great Lakes region, too. We move on to tomorrow night, where tomorrow night dry air slowly creeps through the Dakotas. But other than the Dakotas, anywhere east of the Rockies, there's plenty of humidity to go around. Mississippi Valley, southern half of the Great Plains, Texas, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, the southeast will get a lot of excessive humidity, especially in the interior northeast. Well, actually, much of the northeast, with the exception of northern New England. And some humidity will linger throughout southern Arizona. We move on to Sunday morning, where Sunday morning there will be humidity all across the south, mid-Mississippi Valley, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, the northeast. It'll start building up, and a little bit of leftover humidity in southern Arizona. Sunday night, humidity dominates anywhere east of the Rockies. Yep, that system start creeping up towards the Carolinas. But we'll see about it once we get to the radar part. Humidity starts building up in the coastal part of the Pacific Northwest. And finally, humidity all over the East Coast. Much of the rest of the South, the Ohio Valley, southern half of the Great Lakes, Great Plains, and the Mississippi Valley too. A little bit in southern Arizona, but there's a good amount in New Mexico. Now let's go to Cape. Tonight, for the 4th of July fireworks, there's going to be a lot of Cape all across Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota. Just a little bit in Louisiana and Florida, Alabama, and western Texas. A little bit in the Great Plains. Now, let's talk about Cape throughout. For tomorrow morning, there's going to be a lot of Cape in Florida, western Texas, the southern Great Plains, Louisiana. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Whatever. By tomorrow night, there's going to be a lot of Cape, a lot of convection all across western Texas, parts of the Great Plains, even parts of Florida. We move on to Sunday morning. Sunday morning, there's going to be a lot of convection in South Florida, Louisiana, Panhandle of Texas, eastern New Mexico, and central Great Plains. Sunday night, there is a lot of convection in the Central Plains, mid-Mississippi Valley, Ohio Valley, parts of southeast Florida too, and even eastern New Mexico, Panhandle of Texas. And we have plenty of Cape throughout the coastal part of Texas, a little bit in Florida, and as well as central Mississippi Valley and central Great Plains, and even in the Front Range of the Rockies, and parts of New Mexico too, even the rest of the lower Mississippi Valley too. And then now let's go to the radar, in which we'll see what's going on at that time. Tonight, there a good place to display fireworks would be much of the Northeast, the Midwest, well, in the Ohio Valley, I should say, parts of the desert Southwest, California, Nevada, New Mexico. But places that are not worthy of displaying fireworks would be in much of Texas, much of the Southeast, because of the system offshore, off the Carolinas and Florida. Plenty of strong to severe weather in the Great Plains and the Northern Rockies too. Plenty of showers and storms in the Pacific Northwest. Parts of the Great Basin will get some fireworks going. Yeah, because it's a perfect weather condition for there to do so. For tomorrow morning, plenty of rainfall from that potential tropical system. It's going to occur throughout southeast, like Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. Elsewhere, you have showers and storms throughout Texas, going as far up north as the Dakotas and Minnesota, and as well as the northern Rockies, like Montana, Idaho, and eastern Washington State. Even some showers and storms in western New York and western Pennsylvania. Even some some spotty showers and storms, clouds in the rest of the Gulf Coast. We move on to tomorrow night, where there are more showers and storms throughout the southeastern part of the country, Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida. The rest of the South, we get some spotty clouds, showers, a few storms. Throughout some parts of the South, Oklahoma too, but they're going to get some severe weather going from Oklahoma all the way up north towards Michigan and Illinois. Some storms in the Front Range of the Rockies. Scattered clouds and showers throughout parts of the Great Basin and desert Southwest. Now, what about Sunday? So for Sunday morning, we do have more rain's going to occur throughout Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida, especially in much of the Gulf Coast. Rainfall is to be expected in places like northern New England, and as well as the Central Plains and Central Mississippi Valley. Oh yeah, and that includes some storms in the Dakotas. Stray clouds and showers in some parts of the West Coast. Sunday night, more rainfall in the Carolinas, Georgia, and some parts of Florida. Especially more storms along the Gulf Coast, Mississippi and Ohio valleys too, and especially in the northern half of the Great Plains, Front Range of the Rockies. Well, actually, in New Mexico and Colorado and even parts of Wyoming, they're going to get some showers and storms. And even the interior northern parts of New England and upstate New York. And finally, there's plenty of moisture, plenty of wet weather to go around throughout Carolinas, Georgia, and parts of Florida. Especially more more spotty showers and clouds and a few storms along the Gulf Coast, lower Mississippi Valley. Especially more wet weather throughout the Great Plains and the Mississippi Valley too, and especially more wet weather in the interior northern parts of New England and the Northeast. Showers and some clouds and a few storms in the Great Basin, desert Southwest. Stray clouds and a few showers in some parts of the West Coast. Now, snowfall is not to be expected, folks. Now, yeah, I am going to do the weather topic of the day, folks. So bear with me on this. Okay. Weather topic of the day. Now, I was going to do one weather topic of the day that I just thought of yesterday, but, however, something came to mind midway through the stream, and that would be, how does high humidity affect a fireworks display? So here it goes. High humidity can negatively impact fireworks displays by diminishing their brightness and potentially causing ignition issues. Moisture in the air scatters light, making colors appear duller, and can also affect fuses, leading to delayed or failed ignitions. But of course, let's not forget about some safety concerns, and sound effects would make fireworks, because of the high humidity, affect the speed at which sound travels, because sound waves travel faster in humid air than in drier air. But this effect is usually minor. Alright, folks, there you go. There is... that's it for the weather discussion for today. Of course, from time to time I will pop up during Kingdom Hearts 2 for me to discuss about the current conditions. At that time, it's 6 to 8 p.m., but there's no weather discussion. It's already been taken care of in this stream. So for those of you who have been watching, thank you so much for being here, whether if you guys were live or not. I appreciate you guys. Now, I did say in the previous stream that I was not going to be here, but because of the fact that my plans with my friends have been stymied, well, now I pretty much have more free time now. And, wow, so much for meeting up with my friends. I know I'm not supposed to talk about my personal issues, but it's just that one, I miss them, and two, I was really disappointed. No offense. Not trying to make a big deal out of this. Alright, let's just leave it right there. I'll see you guys at 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for playing Kingdom Hearts 2, in which case we'll be playing plenty of time. There will be plenty of time for me to play Kingdom Hearts while I do the weather. But no national weather discussion like I've done in the past hour and so. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later. And until then, peace out, everybody. Love you all. And if for those of you who are going to miss out on the Kingdom Hearts 2 because you guys are going out for just to see fireworks, well, I don't blame you. Alright, peace out, everybody. Love you all. Signing out.